And just like that, the 2023 Buffalo Bills preseason has come to an end. I am Josh McCarty from Bills Chat. We're going to talk about everything that happened on the field at St. John Fisher today, as well as some developments off the field that took place in Sean McDermott's interview that gave us some clues for how the Bills are going to handle these preseason games. The first thing Sean McDermott mentioned was that Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs will not be seeing action in this first preseason game against the Colts on Saturday. But what he did say was a majority of the starters would. That is a diversion from how Sean McDermott has handled preseason in the past. If you remember last year, same opponent, week 1 of the preseason, the Bills played the Colts. Almost every starter was out of that game, and that even included special teams guys. Saran Neal, Tyler Matakevich, they were in street clothes. They didn't play in that game. I wonder if what Luka has mentioned a couple times on our podcast is true. The fact that this is the Bills' only home preseason game and it's Kids Day has them motivated to give the fans a little something more for their money. Obviously, it's not going to be Allen and Diggs or Von Miller, clearly, but Dalton Kincaid, Damar Hamlin, some fan favorites, I'm sure James Cook, guys fans want to see. Even if they're not out there for too long, it gives the fans something for coming down. I kind of hope not, because this team has championship aspirations, and while it's cool to give the fans what they want on August 12th, I'd rather see this team stick to a plan. This is just me speculating. I certainly have no reason to know if this is true or not. It could just be they've changed their plan. But I want to see the Bills treat preseason with the kid gloves they have treated in years past. There's no need to put out studs in these games. I sure hope that when he says majority of the starters, that doesn't include guys like Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde and Mitch Morse and honestly Deion Dawkins in this first game. The game that Josh Allen plays, yes, Morse, Dawkins, you got to be out there because the franchise QB's out there. You got to protect him. McDermott did say Allen would play at some point this preseason. My guess is that is week 2 against Pittsburgh. The reason being, if you're going to play your starters in a game, you don't want it to be the last preseason game because if something goes wrong, somebody gets hurt, you just want that extra runway of longer time to heal. So my guess is we'll see the majority of the starters next week against Pittsburgh, but at least we're going to see quite a few this week against the Colts. Speaking of the Colts, they confirmed today that Anthony Richardson, their first-round quarterback, is going to start against the Bills. So that's going to be something to watch, see the development, see where he's at. Obviously throwing passes to an old favorite, Isaiah McKenzie. Josh Downs was a prospect a lot of people were excited about. So the Colts bring a lot to the table as far as preseason intrigue, and the Bills will obviously be countering with Kyle Allen. On the field, it was a scary day out there at St. John Fisher. There were some injury scares. Most notably, Stefon Diggs went down. He's okay. He came back to practice. It looks like he got tangled up on a play, was down for a bit, slammed his helmet, but then got back up and then had a confrontation with Kaiir Elam that the speculation is he was confronting him about how often he thinks Kaiir Elam holds on certain plays. That's been an issue with Kaiir Elam throughout training camp. And we even saw that last year in preseason, and it could be one reason why he's not getting on the field as much as we like. Read into that as you will. Kaiir Elam certainly has not been backing down from Diggs and Davis as camp has been going on. But with the fights that took place yesterday, the altercations, and then this today with Diggs and Elam, there was another altercation today between Shane Ray and Tommy Doyle. This just has all the signs of a team that needs to break camp. They need to hit somebody else. They're tired of going against the same people every single day. So I think it's good that camp is coming to an end. Updating other injuries, Leonard Floyd left. He did return, so doesn't seem like there's much of a scare there. The big one from today, though, is Terrell Bernard. He left practice with an injury, left with a trainer, and did not return. That is so less than ideal for the second-year linebacker who is competing for that starting middle linebacker job. Hard to win a job when you're not on the field. Feels like Ty is going to go to Dodson in this race anyway, and Bernard is going to have to be significantly better than him to get on the field. And if this costs him an opportunity to show out in a preseason game, that could really be all it takes. What this also could do is open the door again for someone like a Balen Spector, who maybe was only going to play into the third, late fourth quarter snaps, now he might play 3 quarters in this game on Saturday. And if he plays well, maybe the Bills take a second look at him. You just never know how this is going to shake out. But a lot of times, opportunity and injuries have just as much to do with settling these competitions as the one-on-one battles going on. That's going to be something to monitor. At right guard, it was Ryan Bates getting the majority of the number 1 reps today. It sure feels like it's trending toward Ryan Bates being the starter on the opener. I got into that a little bit in yesterday's video, so I'm not going to rehash it, but just based on the noise coming out from the beat reporters, based on how the depth chart was written, based on the snap share going around, it feels like the Bills are going to roll into the season with Ryan Bates, and O'Cyrus Torrence is going to have to earn his snaps throughout the season. And then at cornerback, it was much of the same. Dane Jackson, Kyer Elam, and Christian Benford splitting snaps. That is going to be a position we certainly focus on in the preseason. Ed Oliver returned to work today. He was practicing. That was obviously a really good sign. Damian Harris did not practice. He is listed as day-to-day with a leg injury. Latavius Murray continued to work in with James Cook. And then beyond that, the Bills are actually fairly healthy as they sit here today, obviously still waiting on Von Miller and Tyler Matakavich to come back off of PUP. On the field, Matt Perino said the play of the day was Micah Hyde with a nice pass breakup on Stephon Diggs. And if Micah Hyde can get back to at least 90% of what Micah Hyde was before his injury, that's such a huge development for the Bills because we're all so excited about Hyde and Poyer being back on the field together. I put out a tweet from Bills chat saying that it's been over 600 days since we have seen Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, and Jordan Poyer all take the field together, Thanksgiving of 2021. And we are just a little over 4 weeks away from seeing it again. And if they're all playing at or around their peak level, that's a game changer for this secondary, a game changer for this defense, and a game changer for this entire team. And hearing that Micah Hyde has those instincts still and has those playmaking skills is just exactly what you want to hear. On the offensive side, more of the same. This camp, to me, has been all about 2 players. You know Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are great. So in a lot of ways, they're just never going to get recognition in camp. Great players do great things. You almost yawn at it. But the 2 players who have consistently been making plays for the Bills offense are Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid. So it was fitting that on this last day of training camp, they both came up big. Gabe Davis has checked every box along the way this camp that you would love for him to check. And that doesn't have to mean anything. We've seen Duke Williams. We've seen Brandon Riley. If you're old enough, you saw Derrick Rogers. You want to go way back in the Wayback Machine. Clarence Coleman went nuts in Bills training camp in 2003. If you're wondering who Clarence Coleman is, it doesn't matter. He did nothing when he got on the field. But Gabe Davis has a track record in the NFL, making big plays in big games. And when you watched him last year after his ankle injury week 2, you could tell he just didn't have that 5th gear that we were used to. His routes were slow. He was rounding off routes, didn't have the giddy up, overcompensated for his injury, which I think probably led to some of those concentration drops, concentrating on where the pain was. If Gabe Davis can become a more well-rounded receiver, attack the full route tree, present himself as a reliable weapon to Josh Allen at all levels of the field, my goodness, this offense can be scary. And then Dalton Kincaid just continues to wow you every step of the way to the point where you just want to see him play against somebody else now. This has become, it almost feels too good to be true. You hear about this guy in college and it's, oh wow, he's the best receiving tight end in the draft. Then he gets out to St. John Fisher and he can't be covered. And now preseason games are starting and all I want to think about is I want to see Dalton Kincaid catch one pass and then get off the field, protect yourself, bubble wrap. We'll see you against the Jets. But this offense has so much potential with its versatility, with its ability to be multiple, and Dalton Kincaid and Gabe Davis are a big, big part of that. So where do the Bills go from here? Training camp is over. They're going to start doing more of a regular season style practice schedule back in Buffalo, Orchard Park, closed to the public. And really the only information we will get from this is what comes out in press conferences and what the local media is able to report, which is not much. They really lock it down. So the fishbowl the Bills have been living in since training camp started, that phase is pretty much over. Information is going to be harder to come by. And you figure there's just about a month still until the opener. There's a lot to be settled. We still don't know who the starting middle linebacker is going to be. We still don't know CB2. We still don't know the kick returner. And as much as I like to think that Ryan Bates has taken the right guard job, there are still 3 preseason games and a month's worth of practices to sort that out. And our ability to decipher all of that just gets a lot harder as these practices are now going to be under wraps. So for those of you that have been here through these quick chat training camp recaps, I appreciate the hell out of you. These have been a lot of fun to do. I don't know that we're going to keep doing these daily. We will certainly be here whenever news breaks. We'll be here obviously to break down the preseason games, and then we'll be on our regular podcast schedule with Bills Chat Live on Fridays on Built in Buffalo, and then Bills Chat on Monday mornings. But for now, I just want to say thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That helps us so much as we are trying to make Bills Chat YouTube your one-stop shop for all Buffalo Bills content. I am Josh McCarty. I will see you next time on Quick Chat.